We've got JJ Jurgens, our game How to Date a TomGirl, and our nightcap, it's TomGirl, tonight on It's Complicated.
You're listening to It's Complicated with your hosts Jennifer Golden and Lauren Leonelli, coming to you live from the AfterBuzz TV studios in Los Angeles, California.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode of It's Complicated. Ooh, I just stuttered.
It's all right.
Complicated. It's hard to say.
Complicated is a complicated word to say.
It sure
and guess what? The struggle is always real, especially when you're dating in the city.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Lauren. And our nightcap tonight is It's a TomGirl. That's right. We took some beer, which is our guest's favorite drink, and we mixed them together, which is it's normally called a half and half, but we're calling it It's a TomGirl because we picked something else, like we picked a Stella to go with the Guinness. So basically you mix it together, and we think it's representative of our guest who mixes two amazing lifestyles together. She's like a girl and a tomboy at the same time. We're going to talk to her about those definitions and what those mean to her. But we decided to mix the two beers like her because we feel like, why can't you just be half and half? Who says you can't be both?
I don't know, and I feel like we just birthed this drink, so
We did.
it's a TomGirl.
It's a TomGirl. So I think I need to pour the Guinness in first, and I know that there's like a special way to pour this Guinness in, and now being that I'm a vodka drinker, I'm going to have a really hard time with this. And then you're supposed to pour the light beer in, and it's supposed to be like half and half in the glass, but as you can see here, I failed miserably. This is the mixture, so let's see if we do it in this order. I'm clearly need to up my Tom. Yeah, no, it's not fucking working. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. It's not.
Is it supposed to be like oil and water, like one
Kind
rises?
of, but maybe like I picked the wrong.
I don't know. Make me one.
Okay, well, whatever. It's going to be good, okay?
And we know that the insides are made of two different things, so it is in fact half and half.
Oh my God.
And I will be having. Oh. Okay.
Jen's voice tends to be a little bit loud sometimes, so
I had to adjust myself. But anyway, here we are. So
here we are, half and half. Okay.
Great. So thank you for my beverage.
Wait, I'll pour this in a second. But our guest, speaking of our guest,
Yes.
is our favorite Tom girl.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yes, we are going to talk about what that means. But she is JJ Jurgens, and she is an Emmy-nominated writer, producer, actor, and she is the host and creator of TomGirl TV. It's a show that covers a podcast, which you can watch here, by the way, watch and listen. And it covers adventure, sports, entertainment, and fashion, and it's geared towards badass women, which is kind of like a perfect time right now.
Oh, yeah, because time's up, guys.
Yeah. JJ also works as a voiceover actor. So if you were just listening to this and not watching it, well, first of all, you should be watching because she's super cute, A. And B, also, she has an amazing voice. So you might recognize her voice if you're just listening because you can hear her on like a Z commercials like Z Living. You can hear her on Bright House Financial, Match.com, which I picked her out on that commercial.
Oh,
I have heard
really?
and knew that it was her. Google and more. So there's more to come, and maybe you'll recognize her voice when you hear her.
You guys probably will, but she does all those things. But by day, guys, she works for CBS Television as the VP Creative Director, Daytime On-Air Promo, producing promos for The Price is Right, Let's Make a Deal, The Young and the Restless, and The Bold and the Beautiful. She even earned a Daytime Emmy nomination for her work for The Young and the Restless. NBD.
No big deal. So we are going to welcome the guest of honor, our favorite Tom girl, JJ Jurgens. Hi. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you had us on your show. We had to, sort of seal the deal and have you on our show.
Yes, and we have your drink here for you, which maybe you can
step up
disrobe
and
your
grab
mic and come grab it because we're all attached to things here.
Is
and
this
that-
mine now when this is ready?
Yeah.
Thank you.
She's a beer drinker, so we
is
thought.
for
And you've
you.
never had a half and half.
I have not.
Well,
I know.
This may or may not be a real
my
half.
cherry
if you go to a bar and order it the right way, it looks cute. It's like blonde on the bottom and then the Guinness on the top, and it's actually really good. I have had one before, and I feel like you would like it.
All right, well,
Do you like Guinness?
I'm more of a. I'm not really a dark beer drinker. I usually go for I used to love Hefeweizen.
Okay.
But
Hey, you know what? It's a mixture. And we mixed it in honor of you.
Did you put the mixture in mine?
Yeah, I did. At
Oh.
the Stella Inn.
It's a delight.
Oh, you don't like it? I don't mind Guinness, actually. I got used to it. I don't mind it.
I think it is an acquired taste, or you just get used to it. And I don't drink beer regularly, so for me, the first sip is a little
Yeah.
But I'm sure I'll love it in 4 more sips. But
Yeah, after a while. But wait, do you ever drink ciders?
yes.
Which is not
Yes.
beer, and beer drinkers get mad, but those are
Yeah,
good.
they're very tasty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like juice. Goes down easy.
It is. I agree.
So something that doesn't go down easy is when somebody says to you, "We need to
talk."
talk." It's just not relaxing when someone looks at you and says that. and our listeners confront us weekly with the questions that most people avoid, like watching your ex's Instagram story, unless you watch it when you shouldn't.
But sometimes they just come through your feed, and it's like you can't help it.
Maybe you should unfollow it. But we'll get there
True.
later, guys,
Good
on
point.
some advice. So we're going to have you help Chris in Florida. Chris wants to know, how do you know if you are just dating or if you are dating or if you're just seeing each other?
Yeah.
So those are two different things according to Chris, and we're going to talk about if we think those are two different things or what it means to us, and we want your TomGirl spin.
Okay.
Okay. So now what do you think the answer to this question
How do
is?
you tell?
If I think dating or just seeing each other,
How do you tell the difference when you're in that point of the relationship? Are we just seeing each other, or are we dating? How do I know?
I would say, I would probably say the frequency of how much you talk, how much you text, if you're getting calls, if you're talking before you go to bed, if you're talking first thing in the morning. I would say frequency is a good indicator.
That was totally my instinct too. I was like, frequency of that, and I'm going to piggyback on that. Also, seeing each other, physically seeing each other, because you can talk to somebody easily these days. There's so many different ways to communicate. I think it also, when you start seeing higher frequency and actually spending physical time together, then that to me is an indication that it's more than just somebody that you've seen a couple of times. The terms is where it gets a little gray.
Because they sort of mean the same thing.
Yeah.
Also in the old timey times of dating, like the 50s or something, maybe, they would say, are you seeing so-and-so? And it's like, with my eyes, sure, but I don't think they're not seeing other people. I see them from time to time now. We're literally just seeing each other, and there is little commitment there. Versus when some people even use the word dating
like that
as
too.
that too. I'm dating a bunch of people, or we're going on dates. Versus when I might think, well, if we're dating, that means that we are somewhat committed.
Yes.
We are maybe not seeing other people. Maybe, I think there's got to be some hierarchy of what these things mean. And it has to mean the same thing to everybody for it to be used properly.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's a poor communication system, really.
There's total discrepancy between the very specific definitions of what those terms mean. But for all intents and purposes of Chris's question, if we're talking, if you feel like you're more casual in between that and now when you start to feel like you're more serious, almost on the exclusive track or right there, then I think whatever you call those two different things, it's how frequently you talk and see each other.
Right. And also, I think if you're saying you are dating, and we're going to use that as the barometer for something that's more serious versus, on the other side of the spectrum, just seeing each other, you should probably have a conversation. I mean, you can probably assume if you are seeing them every night or most nights of the week, and it is getting to the point where you are always together and that is your significant other, then you're dating.
Yeah.
But you should have that conversation if you are unclear about it. Don't do it prematurely because that's crazy.
And you want to we're going to also talk to JJ a little bit more later in the show about how to put her TomGirl spin on these kinds of things, these kind of milestones and questions and things that are cliched moments or something a girl or a girly girl, air quoting, might say. So we'll get to that too. But that's what we think. Time. It's time.
Time,
Chris.
Time tells all, guys.
Yes.
And spend your time writing to us on the internet at Complicated Show and let us know what your questions are, because we'll then take the time and talk to you about it on air.
Yes, and we are really dying to talk about something that is very topical happening right now, and it really ties in with JJ's message and everything that you've been talking about and everything that you stand for a really long time. And that is at the 75th annual Golden Globes, there was a Time's Up campaign, movement, pins, people wearing black. And I, to my knowledge, this is the first time this has surfaced, correct?
Time's Up has been around since this all came up. Like, it was first Me Too, and then it a bunch of like female celebrities in Hollywood took that and their status and really put it to good use and created this whole Time's Up campaign. There's a lot of other people involved, activists and everything, but they started this whole like protest basically, and they're all wearing black. They decided they would all wear black for this particular award show. Now, my question is, are they going to now do this for every award show? Like, where does this begin and end? Was it a one-time thing? Do we forget about it tomorrow? Because I think it's really fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we talked about the League. The League, the app, created a system where the first picture of everyone's profile is monochrome.
Yeah.
It's black and white, so that no one stands out more than somebody else because of their red lipstick or their crazy hair or whatever it is. It's like all in an even playing field. So I think it's kind of cool that like everyone wore black.
Yeah.
Like men, women,
Right.
men and women, because I think that's what was there.
There might have, there's
Some derivative of that. But everybody wore black, and I felt like they were all like one, and I thought it was super moving. Did you watch the show?
I only watched a little bit of it because I was here at AfterBuzz last night, but I have it on my DVR, so I'm going to catch up after when I'm done working. But I did see Oprah's speech. But
Yeah.
And by the way,
Oprah for president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we support the whole Oprah running for president? What do you feel about it?
Yes.
I do.
Yes. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, like hands down, duh.
I mean,
Finally.
honestly,
Hello.
after Donald Trump, I kind of feel like anybody could do it. But I feel, and I can't stand for like a whole bunch of political stance because I don't personally know what they would be, but experience-wise of like different worldly travels and people that she's interviewed and like intelligence level, I feel like she's totally qualified. So
She's also poised, articulate, elegant, cool. She's been around. Like, she's
Relatable.
experienced some shit. She is relatable, but she's also like
not crazy.
no. I mean, listen, and if she is, that would be a real big shock. If anything ever came out that was bad about Oprah or like Tom Hanks, for instance, I would have I would just be like, well, I don't know anymore. I just don't know. I give up.
My favorite choice prior to that was actually was for The Rock because they were floating rumors
Yeah. Oh,
around
that's
whether he
right.
was going to do it, and I'm a total fan of that because he again rose from having $7 to his name and now has created this whole empire.
Yeah.
But then after her speech, either one of those two, I'm good with. But yeah,
Yeah.
I thought she rocked it.
I really, it's interesting. She would be the perfect first president, female president,
Yeah.
for so many reasons. One, because she's black, but also because she's Oprah, and also because she like has like Deepak Chopra meditation, and she's got like a network that she is a badass.
She's very well balanced. But why do you say because she's black?
Because
People
I
are going
think
to ask
it's
you what you mean by that.
because it's covering like two things. Female and black, that like right now Trump is the complete opposite. He's like an orange man with money versus like a
He's
self-made
white, but
black
he
woman.
stands himself.
He's an Oompa Loompa that's taller than he should be. But so I think that she would just defy all odds, but it would come at the right time. Like Hillary sadly was like tainted by so many things, being Bill Clinton's wife, by Benghazi, by the
politics.
emails, by all these things. And had she run after Trump, I think it would have been a different story.
Well, a lot of people, again, it's, just theories, are saying that he specifically chose to run when he knew she was running because there was just no way. There was so much shit on her that there was just no way that she could ever get past that. That it was, a way for him to know he was a for sure shoo-in. But, I mean, who knows? I think Oprah, honestly, I think for all those reasons she would be awesome, but I would love to get to a day where it's just like she's awesome because she's awesome.
100%, and that's what she said in her
That's what she
speech,
says.
that we need to get to a point where
Me Too isn't even a thing.
Right. And I just, I just think that like right now is the time. So like it makes sense for her to run for the sake to show that there really is a change coming.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen first with a female president and trickle down, because there's like a no nonsense policy that's like coming out right now. What do you think of this whole Time's Up movement?
I love it. I love that it's all coming out. I love that the people have been brave enough to put this all out there and make this. I was in an acting class years ago. I mean, probably 10 years ago at this time, and we went on a retreat to Orcas Island. Every single girl in that class had some sort of story of being harassed in an audition. And it was funny because when it started coming out, the first person was scared to like say it because it was just a group of us girls. But then once she let it out, every single person on that retreat
Felt
had a
empowered.
story. Yeah. So then that was so many years ago, and that's only at our small little level of little no-name actors, you know? So it's like,
Yeah.
I just think it's so brave, and I'm so glad that this is happening, and I think last night was wonderful.
I think that's what I like about it. I like knowing that there's some stories that have come out that to me are like, really, like, also I am a huge advocate of like, protect yourself too. Like, don't go to a hotel room of a strange man. I don't care if he's Brad fucking Pitt or whoever. Like, don't do that. It's not safe. Be smart. Okay. And like, nobody deserves to be treated badly, but like, also be smart. Don't do dangerous shit. Don't walk down the street with a wad of money hanging out of your pocket at 3 a.m. Like, I don't think you should get mugged, but if you did, like, well, maybe don't do that next time. Like, protect yourself, right? Be aware. But what I like about this movement is that it is making people not feel scared to talk. And that's what I never think is okay. And I can understand why it would be that way. You don't want to lose your job or whatever, but or more than that. But
well, and then that's the other thing too, like the equality just in general, like as far as like the corporate sphere, like women and men should be paid the same.
Yes.
Men should not feel that they have a right because they are the better sex, the smarter sex, the more like
they're definitely not the smarter sex. And I'm
well,
not
we know
saying,
that.
I just
It's a known fact, guys. You know, you all say, I'm just simple, I'm just dumb, just tell me what you want, whatever.
I called my boyfriend a very derogatory name tonight that I'm not going to repeat, but it basically means like someone whose brain is not functioning correctly, because we were talking about picking an anniversary because we don't have like one specific date. So he's like, well, how about this day? And I'm like, okay, that's fine. He's like, I mean, I would like it to be sooner, but because I went on a date with somebody else, he didn't like that. So he was like, but it can't be. I'm like, I knew way before you did. It's not my fault. You're stupid-ish. And he just looked at me and was like, yeah. I mean, they're like slow adults.
It's all right. They maybe catch up. I don't really know. They're good for something, but so they're not better than us, which is the point. So maybe they're equal, or some of them are at least, but so they're not better. And so I think maybe leveling the playing field will take away this bravado that has been happening.
Totally.
And also make women now feel more empowered in the workplace. If someone, does something inappropriate, they can say, no. Because I'm not going to get fired, because you're not my boss, because you're not better than me, because all the things that cause people, like, yeah, sure, going to a hotel room, that's just a dumb move. But going to a hotel room because it's your boss who asked you to come, because you think you have to do it in order to keep your job.
Yes, that's different. Yes, that's different.
That's where the manipulation comes in, and that is the problem. So you can't just take advantage of what you think is like a frail sex that will do what you want because you fucking asked, and because you're a guy that might have some power over this person. Well, what if I have power? What if Oprah is fucking president, my friends? Then she has power.
And I'm really excited just by, too, how it's rallied all the females together, and they're now having so many different production groups and partners that are also supporting other up-and-coming women with their projects and wanting to tell women's stories and have more roles for women. So I just think and since we're kicking ass in the box office this year as well, it's just a fun time to see that turning.
100%. And I mean, the messaging that was like relayed over and over and over again was to continue telling female stories. Like I, Tanya, like all the, Lady Bird, whatever it was. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which if you have not seen it on Amazon, it is the most phenomenal thing that has happened to my eyes. But watch it immediately. So 2 Golden Globes. But again, a female-driven story. So a lot of people took the time to really highlight the fact that now is the time to talk about females and their stories. And even men who won awards were like thanking their female counterparts in the film, like Sam Rockwell. He thanked Frances McDormand for the lesson in acting. Like she is a freaking rock star.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I just think it was so powerful and moving. I mean, there were like a few moments where it was like, so uncomfortable. No.
Yeah, and it's a lot too. I mean, obviously it was a time for this to all come out and be talked about, but it was like excessive at points. It was like, okay, I get it. I get a little bit weird with stuff like that. Then when I start to feel like stuff is shoved down my throat, I'm like, I understand what you're saying. I see your pin and your black dress. Like, I'm totally supportive of it, but I'm like, okay, I get like too much is too much for me sometimes.
Well, Natalie
but I
Portman,
get why it happened.
Yeah,
though.
so Natalie Portman took an opportunity to make a very serious jab at the Hollywood Foreign Press, where she was introducing the male directors. I mean, not the male directors, the best directors, and it happened to be a category of only men. So she said, some quip about the fact that it was here are the only men or all male director category, and like, you know, it's true, they were all males. They did not nominate Greta Gerwig, who directed Lady Bird, but they did nominate everybody else. And I mean, listen, Guillermo del Toro is an amazing director, and he should have won potentially, but there was no female in that category.
Well, see, this is what I don't know if you agree to this or not. Is it because they're doing it on purpose? Is it like that year at the Oscars where there wasn't any black nominations, or did it just so happen that the subjectivity of the art that year happened to be men?
Well,
and also, what is the ratio of male directors to female?
Like, Best Picture was Lady Bird. So how did she win Best Picture?
It happens, though.
But she wasn't even nominated for Best Director.
Yeah, I mean, there's
How
always...
on earth could that movie have been so good if not for its director?
Well, we all know that the movie-making process is a very collaborative effort. And in fact, I think editors get the shit, like, ignored out of them because I think they're the storytellers. My opinion. But it's a subjective art. I think that people overlook the editors all the time. Without them, there would be no fucking story. It would, or you could completely change it. So, I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm just saying there's also an argument on the other side of, like, is it coincidental or is it on purpose? Could be on purpose.
I just think it was interesting she called them out. I mean, like, people had a lot of balls. Let's just say that, because it's like what we're saying now, people finally feel empowered to talk. Everybody felt very empowered to talk. It was like, oh, okay.
They also get booze there, which is wonderful, right?
Yeah, and there's alcohol too. There's alcohol.
Moet, rosé, Moet, all over those tables. I think an important thing to think about too, before we move on, is that you don't, within something like this, and it's hard not to, but I would love to get to a point where we can all, like, not go backwards and bash whoever else maybe had taken us down or gotten in the way in the past. Like, it's hard not to point it out, but, like, get to a point where we can be empowered women without being like, oh, it's all male directors. Like, just let it be. Like, it is what it is. Like, we're who we are. We're women, and it doesn't mean that we're only badasses because men, like we just joked about it, are stupid or they're less than. Because then it's just we're doing what they did. So,
yeah, her move was a little Kanye. About Taylor Swift.
Yeah, totally.
Like, Beyonce should have won, or maybe a female.
Oh my God.
Like it was a little like, oh, okay.
But
so now we're going to watch this category, and we're now a little bit less excited about who's going to win, because we are once again reminded there's not a female in that category, yet very talented men in that category who were like, can we celebrate this moment?
JJ,
it's hard now.
What do you think about how, because I think MTV was the first one to do this, and it hasn't really, like, spread, but the categories of nominations are not divided by sex. What do you think about that?
That's a very good question. Because I was torn. I mean, part of me loves it. Part of me is torn by it too, just because it's just not that one's better. I don't know. It's just sometimes the roles are so different.
Yes.
So it's hard for me to. That's like comparing
apples and oranges.
Yeah, like a female basketball player with a male basketball player. You know, it's not because like the guys can, but anyway, you know what I'm saying? They're
That's
just
a
like
good point.
Different. So I don't know that everything has to be all like, you know,
meshed together.
Yeah.
But what if instead of doing female versus male categories, they actually created more categories? Like, remember when La La Land was considered a comedy because they didn't know where to put it? There's no like musical movie comedy because like there's usually like one a year. But like, why not just create more categories and have men and women in it? Because then it would divide up what the kinds of roles are in a more even playing field.
What would that even be, though?
I don't know. That's left to these people to figure out.
Yeah, I guess.
All we have to do is talk about it. I don't have to come up with that stuff.
True.
It's hard enough to make a drink these days.
I know. I can't even mix my half and half. It just looks like a whole.
It's, well, you know, that's important too, being whole, guys. But anyway, so we need to dive in to TomGirl TV.
Yes.
How did this come about?
This is a passion project for me and just something I've always wanted to do. And I think because we were all in hosting class together a long time ago, we're trying to come up with, you know, what is our story? What's our brand? What kind of things do we like? And this has just always been my life. Like, I was always a tomboy growing up, but I always played sports, always wanted to compete with my brother. But I didn't, I mean, as a little kid, I dressed as a tomboy because I got a lot of his hand-me-downs. But like growing up, I also loved like fashion and entertainment and all these other aspects. So, and then I started to notice a lot of other girls out there like that who they loved, you know, getting dirty or going and riding ATVs, but then they also liked putting on a great dress and killer heels and getting all dolled up. So it was a balance. So I wanted to create something that's kind of almost like the GQ for, you know, for women adventure people, that we could talk fashion and sports and adventure and just kind of start to build a community of people who could, you know, interact with each other and share, you know, their stories.
So in your mind, what is the definition of a tomboy?
A tomboy?
Yes, a tomboy.
I feel like tomboys are more like they dress what's thought to be of like a boy, like when I was a kid, like hand-me-downs from my brother, and maybe
More masculine.
More masculine, yeah.
Okay, and so a
And it's,
tom girl.
So tom girl for me, she dresses like feminine. I mean, she can still rock, you know, sporty stuff, but I think she'll like to get fancy, like to get her nails done, like to get her hair done. She likes following fashion, entertainment. I feel like she likes to. In my mind, tom girls like to get like dolled up and follow the trends and be like fashionistas.
But
as
they
well.
seem to be a little bit more well-rounded in terms of like the sexes, like maybe a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yes.
Versus
Yeah.
just a girly girl or like a super jockey guy.
Half and half.
Yeah, and exactly.
half and
Like
half,
I guess
like
I
our
think of
drink.
tomboys like being more
On one
not
end of
embracing
the
it.
spectrum.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tom girls kind of exactly
I
like
don't really-
your drink now. They're all
I
blended.
know. I didn't
Yeah.
think about this until recently, until you just said that, but I kind of feel like I wouldn't be that far off of a tom girl.
No, I feel like I would be a tom girl
Yeah,
too.
like I
I feel
like
you guys are too.
Yeah, like I like to I love like fashion and jewelry and like makeup and doing my hair and stuff, but like I just asked my boyfriend like when's the football game on this? Like I want to like when can we like go run up Runyon Canyon and like play in a sporting event together and swim, and like at the beach I spent New Year's Eve in Cabo, and we went to a beach where there was all these like water sporting events, and I was like the only one out there I want to do this one. I was like doing the pedaling, and then I was in the kayak, and then I was on the stand-up thing. I like wanted to do all of them because I'm like, it was like a buffet. I wanted to try them all. But then, of course, I wanted to like be cute in my bathing suit, put my hat on after, and was like drinking my drink.
Yeah, that's
all of it.
exactly. That's what it is right there.
So fun.
It is so fun, and it just really, it's like this sort of the same thing with the Me Too thing. It's like, well, why do we have to have a label? But we have to sort of have a label to describe something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, then
True.
you're sort of just using words, and it's like, what? But how do you think now, like a tom girl would fit in with this whole like Time's Up thing? Like, are we trying to be tom girls because we're trying to fit into a man's world and a woman's world, or are we just someone that's?
I think she totally fits, because I think to me, tom girl has always been like, I've worked primarily in jobs dominated by men. Like I worked for the Dodgers for 8 years, and I worked for the University of Nebraska's athletic department, their Husker Vision. So there was only like 2 of us girls in my first job with a room full of men. So I think it's also for me, tom girls. We were those girls like trying to like show that no, we can pull the cable on the football field just like the guys. No, we want to run the camera. We want to be the fan cam holding the, because it'd be like, oh, you can't do camera. It's like 50 pounds. It's like, no, give me the camera. I want to do the fan.
Yeah.
So I think tom girls totally fit into this movement, because it has always been. I've always been a believer in equal pay and fighting for that, and for girls like being the top of their game in whatever kind of field it is, whatever profession you like. So I think, yeah.
I love
kind
that.
of rambled a little bit.
No,
but-
that makes perfect sense.
I was just in your story, like in it to win it.
Totally. So, who is your favorite guest you've ever had on your show?
Oh, that's so hard.
Us.
Yeah, exactly. You guys, they're all. What I've loved is they've been all so different. I like the fact that since we chose for the show to cover different areas, there's been like, I love hearing everybody's story because they're all so different. It's not just athletes coming in. One person that was really fun was Caitlin Deschelle, who was Wonder Woman's stunt woman. So that was pretty cool.
my God.
And that was right before the movie came out. So it was fun to like hear her stories of that.
That's awesome.
And watch her like, kind of career skyrocket as well. after
Speaking
that.
of Wonder Woman, I watched that movie and cried because I was like, what a beautiful badass. Like, I mean, Gal Gadot happens to be super gorgeous in like the most insane way.
she
but
is.
she's also like, she seems really down to earth, really like she can just solve any problem and kind of like resourceful. And I find that to be like super attractive in a person that's just like, no, I can do it. Like, I got that. Like, oh, not like I'm a damsel in distress. So, like, I need people. I'm helpless.
See, and she's like the perfect example of a TomGirl because she like kills it on the red carpet. She's gorgeous, amazing, you know, the way she dresses. But then she was also an actual soldier and in real life before playing, you know, Wonder Woman. And,
right. Because she's Israeli, guys. So.
She is gorgeous. I really want to see that movie too. But she seems like, to me, and being that character seems to fit art imitating life too. Like she really is that, like a real life version of that.
Yeah. Because she has that caring side as well too. I feel like everybody just says nice things, wonderful things about her, and family.
I mean, she seems like a great role model, and I think, you know, Wonder Woman can be a million different things to somebody. Like, it could be like that super voluptuous, like super hot superhero, or it's a badass chick that happens to be really pretty, but like she's almost prettier.
And whatever badass means to you, like it doesn't. I personally don't think that it needs to be like, well, I'm a badass chick because I do man stuff, but I'm a woman. Like, whatever it is that you do, and whatever it is that you categorize as like a man and a woman, like, what if you are like, I'm fucking badass chick because I take care of those kids all day long and cook a mean ass meal for my husband when he comes home. Like, I'm fucking running the ship is tight in this mofo. Like, that's what I would be like. Yeah, I'm fucking badass. I'm running the show. Like, you can go off to work and do your thing, but like, I'm making this happen. Like, that could be a Wonder Woman badass chick too. And it isn't as to say that that's not just as hard as, you know, going to the office or fucking throwing a football, right?
Exactly.
I think it's just owning what you're doing and not being helpless. Like,
totally.
Like, you are self-sufficient in some regard, and you're, I don't know, I just feel like you have strength. And whatever that is, it comes out in whatever you do.
Whatever that means to you, exactly.
So,
also,
that's that.
Speaking of things that you personally do and strength, you have a very strong, specific voice, and you do voiceover work. Is that something that how did that come about? Like, did someone keep telling you, like, you have a great voice, or what happened?
No. You know, I moved out here originally for acting, and then I started working for CBS was my first job. And then as I moved up, one of the jobs I had there was directing the voiceover sessions. So I was getting to work with some of the guys that do all the big trailers and all, like, some really good guys.
You mean like the movie, like In a World?
Right. Some of those guys are in that movie, you know? Yeah. So these were guys. So then I kind of just took that as, like, my class. I would just sit there and listen to them and watch them, and just was amazed because I would watch them come in and they'd knock that stuff out, you know, so quickly and leave. And I was just like, and I never even I didn't even know about voiceover until that, which is crazy because I was an advertising major. So you would think at some point they would talk to us as students about who we hire
for commercials,
right? Like to read the commercials. But for some reason that was in Nebraska. You know, I just never like thought. I don't know.
Maybe one day you can teach that course.
Yeah, well, you do.
Sort of. I do teach yeah. But so then I just asked. I had known some of the agents through hiring their people, and I just was like, how do I go about? Like, I really love this. Like, I want to see how I can do it. And then they helped me. I had a good friend help put my demo together. Thank you, Rick Robles. And then just started going from there, and just now it's.
But like, your voice is so perfect for it.
See, and I can't. I don't like to hear my own.
Oh yeah, no, voice, I hate the sound of my own voice.
Yeah. It's challenging sometimes to hear yourself talk, and after the fact, like right now, I'm like, oh, my voice sounds like my voice, but when I listen to me after the fact, I'm like, ugh.
You're like, that is not what I sound like, and if it is, I am so sorry to everyone with functioning ears.
I do feel a little apologetic when I'm like, and you choose to listen to this. Okay.
It's so funny though, because I totally can pick your voice out. I think it was like I was saying, the Match.com commercial. I think at least that's what I'm remembering. Whatever it is, I'm positive that there was a commercial that I heard, and then I think I asked you too. I was like, "Are you the boy?" Because I was like, "That is so fucking JJ."
Now
like,
I want to hear it.
I don't remember. I think it was probably that one. That one aired on TV. Because I was just like, "Oh my god, there is no way that's." I think I texted you or something. I was like, I remember in my old apartment sitting on like my brown leather chair, going, "This is JJ," and it was one of those days where commercials will repeat throughout like whatever the movie was on or something. So I had heard it more than once, and I was like, oh my god. It sounds like such a fun job. I would love to do that.
It really is. I try to help people like get into it. And I want to thank Bright House Financial actually, because that one was on during the World Series. And for me, being the Dodgers worker and like fan that I am.
Oh my
It
God.
was like a Super Bowl commercial for me as far as on camera
That's pretty
acting.
amazing. And
you know?
also it
Like,
kind
I
of
was
came full
excited.
circle because you did work there and now
Yeah.
you're a part of it in your own
Yeah,
way.
it was fun.
Oh my God, that's so awesome.
But yeah, back to I do teach classes and can help people. Anybody out there listening that's wants to get into voiceover. There's some really great people.
How do
out here.
Lauren and I sign up?
Just you can email me at jj@jjvo.com and I can email you. There's some Marilyn Wisner teaches some amazing classes out here. Calmanson has some great classes. There's wonderful teachers out here. I mean, in LA, there's tons of people, tons of great private coaches that are wonderful as well.
And
help you
also,
ladies
guys,
out.
we're in a digital age, so you can send your shit and do it that way too, probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
Anybody can record
the
anything.
world
at
is
this
your
point.
oyster.
that's
sure
one
is.
thing that's so wonderful about the job, and one thing that you can be anywhere in the country now. I mean, most people, even at CBS, as far as the talent we still bring in, rarely do they come in. Everything is done just from their home studio, so you can be in Cabo, wherever
Yeah.
you'd like,
Listen,
phoning us in,
listen,
doing your job from there in
Chris
the closet.
and Chris in Florida, and we answered your question, and now you can also send your voice over to us, and maybe you can ask us a vocal question. We can air it. Oh, we should start doing that.
Oh yeah,
So you guys, send us,
A voice
record your
recording.
voice, and send your voice asking a question, whatever your question is, and then we'll like play it on air.
Amazing.
And
That's
then
what we're
we'll
doing
answer-
now.
That's what we're gonna do. So do that at Complicated Show, everyone.
Everyone. So now, JJ,
yes.
this is a relationship show. So and
Here we go.
here we go. So are you in a relationship, single? What are you doing?
I am single.
And ready to mingle or not
Ready to
ready to mingle?
mingle.
Okay, so you're in it to win it. Are you on dating apps?
Oh, I'm so bad with those. Like
But have you been?
Okay, so I was on Bumble before. Very long time ago, I was on Tinder. Did meet somebody. My first Tinder date, I did meet. We dated for 4 months. So it was all right. It was all
Basically
right.
a Tinder success.
That was So I didn't have any scary Tinder stories.
Right out the gate.
Right out the gate. Yeah.
Well, I think it's because there were better people on at the time. Like it was people that actually
a few
wanted
years
to
ago,
be in
yeah.
a relationship, maybe. And then now it's just the muck. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So then what happened?
So then got after that when we started dating. Started dating, and then while ago got on Bumble, but then I would kind of get on and then get off.
What would like your
So I just
opening line
recently,
be?
Rebecca, that's what I'm so bad because I'm the worst dater.
I don't think I think honestly it's like consistency. So you're getting on and off, I think, is what the problem is with dating apps. With everybody. It's hard to just stay focused because there's
Or
so much.
In the new year, I did go back on just to try to get focused.
But maybe
now.
that's not your app. Maybe there's a different app out there for you.
True.
I really like Hinge. Personally, I like the League because it's people with jobs.
What's Hinge and why do you like that one?
Okay, so it's more of like a social media profile where like it's photo, a little like quip like about like I don't know their favorite cuisine or where they want to travel or like Hinge sends you prompts, so you have to answer it. So it's basically the way they structure the profile. Instead of like 4 photos and a little bio you write yourself so cleverly, they actually prompt you to write things that are meaningful. So they'll say like do photo, then answer prompt, then do photo, then answer prompt. So also tells you people's height and if they want to have kids.
Oh my God.
And like if they smoke and do drugs and things. So I think it's kind of great because what you do instead of swiping right and left, you like certain elements of somebody's profile or you hit X. So you can also give something to somebody like, okay, if I like somebody's picture of them doing a marathon, then they might write me back and be like, oh, hey, like, do you ever do marathons? Like, you want to do one with me?
what you're talking about. It's not just a random swipe right. It's like specifically.
Yeah. So I think it like kind of also helps you with the conversation.
Yeah, that's true.
Bumble for me is my least favorite because I'm like you. I don't want to like come up with something witty. I'm just not that girl. Like that takes way too much effort. I'm like, that's like sending a work email.
Yeah.
Like, oh, unsend, like, no. So I'd rather be on like the League or Hinge. That's really my jam. So you might want to try those.
Okay.
Yeah. And okay, now I have a question for you since we're talking about like tomboy and dating and stuff. So when you were younger, did you feel like and maybe not too young, but maybe at the age where you were like, I'm still kind of like a tomboy, but I'm like starting to get to the age where I'm liking boys and they're liking me or whatever. Like, did you ever feel like it worked for your favor or did you get treated like one of the boys? And now, second part to the question, how does it affect you now in the dating world?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I don't think it mattered as much early on No, I think like, well, early on I was so like in my sports that I kind of didn't care, and maybe
Yes.
that's why it worked too, because I kind of didn't give a shit. So then maybe people were more, you know how when you
Yeah,
don't care,
yeah,
they're more
yeah.
attracted.
Totally.
I guess so. Maybe I had that. But yeah, it just seemed. I don't. But now.
Like,
Yeah,
I feel
well, I
like
know.
you have so many things to talk about because, like, you're very well rounded, and they're not like, oh, today I went shopping with my friends, and that's a terrible stereotype, but some people are like that. But like, you can
Hey,
talk
listen,
about
it's fun. I want, yeah. I mean,
you can probably talk to a guy about something they actually want to talk to you about, and like that's sometimes hard on dates
Yeah.
because it's like, where do you, first of all, you're strangers, and what do you have in common? Sometimes nothing. Or you like the same sports, or you might not like the same sports. One might like football and you might like the Dodgers, but like the fact that you can talk about sports in general or something you're passionate about might be like,
not every guy likes sports either, but
Right.
do you ever run into that problem where you're like,
Yes, like I did. Yeah, I have run into the problem where if like I'm dating somebody, maybe I like sports more than them,
Yeah.
and then I think maybe then don't want a girl like that. Like they want more of the cutesy,
relatable,
like, yeah, more the cheerleader type versus the one that's, might be so into sports. Yeah, I think out here, I don't know if it's the location or what. I do find it really hard to date out here.
Why is
Like,
that?
that's what I said. I don't know if it's location. I find like it's really hard for me to find, I don't know, somebody that I click with on all like different levels.
and you
I
would think, to interject for a second, that the stereotype of this girl relates to a guy on a level that maybe some other average woman doesn't. Like there's a little bit, like you said, more for you to talk about, or just a relatability there because you might be in the realm of liking things that they happen to generally like, but you don't think it mattered. Like it was good for you when you were younger and you didn't give a fuck and it was like an attractive thing. Now it's like not, right?
Yeah, I don't know, and I can't. It's hard too because I don't date a lot, like I am really picky too. And a
you're
lot
busy.
of it too, I was going to say, I think a lot of it too is I work a lot, and I think a lot of guys maybe don't like that or like that I
Yeah.
work too much, or,
Right.
I think I'm really looking for that person that they have a lot of things going on as well as too. I like those couples that really support each other and, like your Nicole Kidman and those types of people that like, they have two people that both are really into their own things, and they help build each other up and support each one of those things, and then they like grow together. And I think it's hard to find people like that out here, or has been for me.
Yeah.
maybe. Have you ever dated one of your guests?
One of my guests on the show?
Yeah,
Yeah. Or like someone you
No.
even met, maybe like
in a casting or something.
in a casting at work or on a red carpet or something connected to your line of work.
I've dated a coworker before.
And
Like,
how was that? We
it's-
always ask about that. Did you feel like you were doing something bad?
I mean, people knew about it at work, but
Yeah.
it is that hard. You have to make a choice. It's been great for us because we've been broken up for years now. And we're still work together and everything's fine.
How
It's
long
not
did you
as-
date?
Probably dated a year.
Oh my God.
That's a while.
Less than a year. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how was that going back to work after that?
it was a little weird at first,
Yeah.
but I mean, he was a great guy. I have nothing, bad
Yeah.
to say about him. So it was like
Yeah.
we were both professional and could
You're
could
both
do
adults.
it. But
That's great
yeah.
that you
But
did
it-
that and it could handle it well.
But that's why, I mean, it's hard when people ask the question like, should you date people at work or not, or it's definitely it's a big decision, but
Yeah,
It's a risk if you think, I think we always say this too, like if you know you're the type of person who you never really know how you're going to feel, but if you think, like generally speaking, like I'm not the type of person who is normally like dramatic about these situations,
Yeah.
and I'll
Yeah.
be able, like you always say that, Jen, you're like, no, I could handle it. Like maybe there might be times where it would be hard, but you probably could. Like it would be shocking if you went and dated someone you worked with or had to see over and over again, and you like lost your shit and couldn't handle it ever and see them ever. She just wouldn't.
work is way too important, and also I'm an adult, and I would be ashamed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, never say never. There might be moments or whatever, but for the most part, you're confident to say, like, that probably wouldn't be an issue for me.
Yeah.
So I think dating someone at work would probably be an okay risk to take if you know that about yourself.
Right.
Like, I'm
If
not
you can
probably
handle
going
it.
to act
Yeah.
that way.
and you've known them well enough hopefully after being around them at work that you kind of know what kind of situation you're getting into too, so you're not going to have like some real crazy, coming at you or
you
something
really
like
just
that
don't want to
deal
screw
with.
that all up.
Yeah,
But so now, being a Tom girl, do you have a specific type? Like you obviously said, you want a partner like that supports you and
Yeah.
someone that doesn't think you're too sporty. But like, do you have a specific type?
I have dated all across the board, like
Even
there's not
physically,
really-
the way they
there's-
physically look too.
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've dated different races, different heights, different
Yeah.
religions, different. Yeah. So I don't know if I really have a set type, but no, I really now I do want somebody that's adventurous and active, and I like to be outdoors. So I want somebody, and I really like to travel and do fun things while I'm traveling as well too. So I want somebody that's on board for all that kind of stuff too, and who like will want to go camping or get dirty or is, like wants to have a lot of fun and like enjoy life.
That's important for us. I mean, we cannot date someone that doesn't drink.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't know what that's like.
Like what?
Ugh, I can't. It's like no.
What would you even do?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Literally at a loss for words.
There would
I
like
can't.
90% of our time would go just then what?
I don't know. But so JJ, before we get into our game, if you have one piece of a relationship advice to give to our audience, what would that be?
With your Tom girl spin.
Yeah.
Well, that's just you being
Right,
you,
so
actually.
that's-
So it's
yeah.
just you.
So JJ advice.
I would I would say for sure don't settle and know what you want. I think it's taken me a while to know exactly what I'm looking for.
Like you just said right now, I for sure know I want someone who's adventurous.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
So that would be a deal
Yeah.
breaker,
Deal
if
breaker.
they were not
yeah,
that.
like I for sure want adventurous, kind, funny, easygoing. I can't deal with drama. Like guys that like a lot of drama, stuff like that. So I think it sounds cheesy, but my advice too is to really like know yourself, know what you love and what those qualities that you can't live without, and then don't stop until you find it. I don't settle.
And
Some people might say that it is picky, but I think you just know. Like
no, it's not.
you have to be picky. It's the person you're picking for the rest of
Why
your
the
life,
fuck would you-
potentially.
Yeah, and when you say don't settle, that's like an arbitrary term too, meaning just don't let things slide that bother you or that you need to have that aren't there. Like,
Or just don't. What I mean is like don't start making excuses. Like, well, he's got this. It's okay, but he's got all these things, but he does. He's doesn't treat you right, or he doesn't.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
This
Yeah.
shouldn't be. Know what you deserve and know what makes you feel good and treat somebody how you want it. You want to be treated. Make sure find somebody that treats you like that.
of course, those are like the important deal breakers. Of course, sometimes you go into a relationship thinking to yourself, I like this and I want this. But then you meet someone and you're like, oh, wait a second. I actually think I kind of like that. As long as you know you like it, but be open to opening that door too.
And
then-
also don't
yeah.
paint red flags white, my
Don't do
friends.
that, no.
Don't. And by the way, can we all talk about the fact that people are living for like ever at this point? You're not going to die at 38. You don't have to get married at 25 because
God.
you're going to die at 38 and find the first person that's breathing. Like, relax. You can get married when you're 40 at this point. You do what you do.
True story.
True story. So now, our game.
That's right, you guys. We know that people always say men are from Mars and women are from Venus, which we know is kind of true, and that's what makes dating complicated, right? So, but we think, like we've talked about with you, maybe what if, like, you were a girl was more like one of the dudes, then maybe it would make dating as smooth as, like, Steph Curry at the free throw line or something. I mean, I'm just saying. So what we're going to do is we need the help of our favorite Tom girl, and we are going to throw some typical, like, chick, for lack of a better term, lingo your way. And you need to throw your Tom girl spin on it so that dudes get what we're saying, right? Like bridge the gap, JJ, in our game called How to Date a Tom Girl. Okay, so we're going to say like a couple things that like a chick might say. And you're going to be like, don't say it like this, say it like this.
Okay,
So
okay.
you don't like scare the dudes off, like speak their lingo. What are we?
God, this is a good game. Oh, like because I would never
Yeah.
say that phrase to a guy.
Yeah,
ever,
you wouldn't.
ever.
Well, what would you say?
I would.
Yeah.
I think like I'm not big on the like we got to have a talk. What are we kind of?
Okay.
I feel like if I have to ask what are we, then it's not
Okay.
It's not good.
So then you don't
I
even-
just not even. I'm just gonna throw it out. Like don't
Yeah.
even ever say that. I mean, I think it's fine to get to a point and say like, are we exclusive? You know, or get more specific with it. Like,
Okay.
so what are we dating other people now, or are we exclusive, or what's going on?
And
here?
you're just
say it in
being-
a more laid back way.
Yeah.
And laid back,
Like-
but you're still being really forward and more specific. And guys, sometimes they always say, just tell us what you're saying.
Yeah.
Tell us what you want.
Like, get to it. I will say that I'm going to give it a time's up spin and not ask the guy, what are we? Because he doesn't get to decide. And now we
you
have a
said-
conversation
Yes. Yeah.
that's like, well, I
Yeah.
feel this way. How are you feeling about us?
Yes.
Well, you know what? Actually, I'm not that interested in seeing other people, so I probably am not gonna. What's your deal? Are you dating other people? You fucker?
I
See, and that's a more laid back kind of.
I
until you
legit,
throw in the
I
motherfucker
did
button.
that like almost every step of the way of my relationship right now. I was like, listen, this is how I feel. Like, whilst having a heart attack. But I did. And I probably did it in an emotional way, but I still did it.
Did you? So you never said, "What are we?" You just
No,
kept saying.
I would
See?
just say, this is what I feel these feelings right now, and I want you to know this is how I feel. Open door for you to talk.
Your turn.
Which is
Yeah.
really fucking uncomfortable. But
And
Yeah,
also kind
yeah.
of amazing. It's a little what you did was smart because you were like making him feel comfortable and welcoming him. It's also a little manipulative if you're doing it because you're volleying it to the person. You're like,
no.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was also like I'm saying how I feel it was basically like jumping with no net every time
Right.
because I didn't know. Like I knew also he was the type of guy who's going to really say how he felt. So I was like, oh fuck every time. But maybe that was I don't know if it was good. Obviously.
it worked out. So
Okay, so don't just ask it. Just go directly specific.
Or just if you're seeing each other, he obviously likes you, you like him. What you're doing is what you're doing, and you don't need to ask the question, "What are we?"
True.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how about this question? Does this dress make me look fat?
Yeah, that one. That one, JJ.
Yeah. I wouldn't ask that one either. Just it doesn't make me like. I mean, what if you're just better with it? Like if you're just like, hey. Do I look good in this? Like, what do
Yeah.
you think about this? Does this turn you on? What do you think? Like,
Yeah, okay,
Is this
I
hot?
like it.
Because-
Is this hot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this hot? Because it makes it about his opinion of you versus like
already
fat.
like, do I look fat?
Which is
And they already know a lot of these questions too are going to trigger them back to other girls they've dated. You gotta
Yes.
think too, because they're all saying things
Yeah.
like that too. And those are lines
It's
they're
like
used to
insecure,
hearing and they
which-
don't like.
yeah,
Yes,
they hate
exactly.
that shit. Okay, one more.
What about? Okay, fine. I'm like, that one might be okay. You could maybe ask this one, and maybe you do this too. But like, what about so do you think about sports when we're having sex?
Or does JJ think about sports?
Or are you like, I was thinking about Tom Brady while we were having sex?
Now that you asked,
I'll admit I've totally thought about other people before at certain times.
Oh my God, that's fucking amazing. I was drinking my drink, which is why there was a delay. But like Adam Sandler, is that who you were thinking of?
Yes,
I know,
Adam.
that's your jam.
He is my jam.
I'm surprised it's not like fucking
a sports
Danny
guy.
Amendola or
Adam
some. Yeah,
Sandler's
no.
always been my crush.
Oh, I
All
love
right,
it.
well, you're
But
committed.
yeah, like, what do you like?
Yeah.
A question like that, or even,
Or are you thinking about somebody else?
or like, do you still think about your ex or something like
Oh
that?
yeah,
Like, yeah.
no.
Okay, we're closing in. I mean, what do you think? Just ignore it. Don't say anything.
I mean, definitely don't ever bring up the ex.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever ask questions that compare you, like,
Yeah,
to somebody
comparing's a bad
else,
game,
and just
yeah.
like, compare it to a, man. I mean, you could say more things like when you're asking him, like, how can I get you to a home run? Like, I mean, different
Oh
things
my
like
God,
that.
you sport terms. I love that. Okay.
Yes, that's so good.
Inject some sport terminology into your sex life. Love it so much. Okay, great. Thank you so much for playing, JJ.
Yeah.
And remind everyone where they can find you on all the things.
You guys can follow me at TomGirl TV. You can also find me at JJ.Jurgens on Instagram.
All right. And Jen, where can everyone find
Oh,
you?
well, you can find me at Jennifer Golden on all of the social media platforms. And where can people find you?
At Lauren Leonelli on all the social media platforms. And don't forget to tune in next week for our show. We've got stand-up comedian Jacqueline Marfugi, is I believe how you say her Italian East Coast New Jersey name. And follow us on all the socials at Complicated Show.
We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Love you long time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.